episode 91 of the franchise. Here we are. I'm here in my parents' basement with a lime seltzer. And
what's happening, kids? This is Henry, and that was Dan, and we are here for He Got It Right, everybody, episode 91.
Yeah. Daniel
Wow.
Ehrenberg here, your hostess with the mostest.
Nice.
Like old Beetlejuice.
There you go.
Yeah. Beetlegeist, right? He's a contemporary of ours.
Beetlegeist, yeah.
Hank, we did it. We completed viewing some more Death Wish films. We saw Death Wish 5, The Face of Death.
Yes.
From the great year of our Lord, 1994. A wonderful, the final Charles Bronson film. You got death there in the title twice. So,
right.
It's wonderful. We're back to a Roman numeral 5 after 3 and 4 went with the number.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That
Death
drives
Wish
me fucking nuts.
Death Wish V.
This is a First
Face
Blood,
of Death.
Rambo First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3 situation.
Oh, that's right. There you go. Yeah.
And we also ventured out over there to the multiplex.
Yeah, we sure did.
And we saw on opening night and day, respectively, Eli Roth's Death Wish.
Yes.
Okay. We'll talk
That'd
more
be good.
about that in a little bit. Let's start here with one of the least essential films we've ever covered on the podcast, Death Wish 5, The Face of Death.
Yeah.
By-
That's saying something, too.
It's saying a lot.
Yeah.
What is the most inessential film we've covered on the podcast?
You know, I wouldn't say Hard Bodies.
No,
Because
100% not.
No. The least essential. I mean, there's got to be a few contenders. You know, maybe Home Alone 3 and 4.
I would argue Home Alone 5, which you didn't even bother watching.
Right. That's
The Holiday
good.
Heist with Malcolm McDowell.
Dirty Dancing on TV. That was probably inessential.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Inessential. You know, those are pretty good ones. Because everything else, even if it's garbage, you know, it was necessary for the coverage.
There's something there. Yeah.
Yeah,
I watched
yeah.
Legally Blondes. Remember that?
Right. With
With the twins.
Yep.
All right. Alan A. Goldstein is our new writer-director, a real auteur, and a fine Jew. He's...
Can I give his proper credit as it appears on the screen?
Please do.
Screenplay and directed by Alan Goldstein.
That's not proper English. Have you seen
Yep,
anything else
that's how
by
it's
this fella?
presented. No.
No, okay.
Have
I think I watched part of the Leslie Nielsen parody movie 2001: A Space Travesty at some point.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought I had maybe seen Virus, but I don't think I did.
Virus?
No, because I was thinking of the Jimmy Lee Curtis one, and
Yeah,
it
I
was
saw
not
that.
one. It was another. It's another Virus with Brian Bosworth, ex-Seattle Seahawk. Yeah.
Oh, how about that? As opposed to Brian
Yes.
Bonsall, the kid from Blank Check, who we've talked about.
That's what I was going to say.
Thank you. Death Wish 5, The Face of Death, was released on exactly the release date this movie should have, which is January 14th, 1994. A budget of $5 million, although supposedly Charles Bronson was paid $6 million. I'm not sure how that works out. So this film cost negative $1 million to make. Came in at a box office of I have the exact figure here, $1,702,394.
Oh, so in 1994, one person added that $4.
That's right.
So that's cool.
A matinee.
Yeah.
It came in that year at number 179 at the box office. Did slightly better than a film I've never heard of called Scent of the Green Papaya. I'm going to.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Is that a sequel to Fried Green Tomatoes?
I think it is a Chinese film. Made a lot of buzz that year. Actually,
Is that true?
I recall. Might have even it might have even been up for an Oscar. I could be wrong, but yeah.
And it did.
I didn't see it, but I've heard of it.
Of course not. It did slightly worse than a film I have seen, Henry. Gus Van Sant's Even Cowgirls Get the Blues.
That is a terrible movie.
It's okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Scent of Green Papaya, Vietnamese.
Okay, you had it right.
I said Chinese, but yeah.
Sorry. No, it's not Drink Man Woman.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's Taiwanese.
It was nominated for. Yeah, it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Foreign Film.
Look at that. What did it lose to? Il Postino, the Postman?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's good, though.
This was Charles Bronson's final theatrical starring role. He went on to do the Family of Cops films. But, I mean, he was done with filmmaking by this point. The love of his life, Jill Ireland, had passed away.
Right.
Did you know she wrote a book, Henry? This is funny, but also sad.
Oh.
She wrote a memoir before she died.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the title is? This is real.
No, I don't.
Life Wish.
Oh,
man. That's a fact.
That's what you're going to call your book? Oh,
Life Wish.
Well, okay. I mean, I guess, she was sick and wanted to pay homage to her husband somehow. I don't know.
Hey, and she was in Death Wish too.
Right. Well, of course. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This film has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't know why that always makes me laugh, because there's plenty of films that actually have a 0.
I know.
It's kind of an urban myth that there's like one film that has a 0.
No. I think there's like only like a handful since Rotten Tomatoes existed.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of 0. Yeah, sure. Okay.
This movie was, I believe it was going to be directed by Menahem Golan, who, by this point, Cannon, who produced Death Wish 2 through 4, had folded. They had so many tanks, they went bankrupt, and Menahem Golan formed a new studio, which he was trying to get off the ground. He still had the rights to Death Wish. He figured maybe Death Wish 5 will make us some money.
Yeah.
But it tanked.
He figured wrong.
Yeah, and he was not involved in the making of this at all because he got in a fight with Charles Bronson, and they were incommunicado.
Yeah, I read that. That's not a good idea.
No, and Menahem Golan was off somewhere going insane. Like, it was a real Hearts of Darkness, a filmmaker's apocalypse situation where he was trying to make an adaptation of Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky.
Right.
Which finally came out in 2002, and no one cared.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So this movie tanked, but hey, here it is. We watched it.
We watched it. Did you notice the story credit?
I did not.
Oh, look at that. I got some fun information then. I'm not going to spoil too much, but we will be talking more about this gentleman next week.
Is that true?
Yes. The guy who didn't write the screenplay, but he came up with the story idea, is a man named Michael Colleary, and he wrote or co-wrote the movies that we will be covering on the next episode.
Okay. Both of them?
The first one of said thing, yes. But I could also say he wrote, which we will not be covering, he wrote Face Off.
So he's a great writer.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to throw that out there. So
Love
yeah,
this
so
guy.
you didn't know that. Yeah, so we'll be talking about this guy 2 weeks in a row. Well, we don't have much to say about him right now. That's about it for him.
So he came up with the story. He went to Menahem Golan and was like, I've got it. Death Wish in the fashion industry.
That's right. And Alan Goldstein and him put it together, and we got this beautiful product.
And Alan Goldstein was like, "Thanks. Let me put a
This-
schmear on this bagel."
Yes, there's some locks on the runway.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so we're back in New York. Now, this movie,
Another Alias.
Death, well, hang on. Death Wish, we're just crisscrossing the United States.
Back and forth.
So, Death Wishes 1, 3, and 5 take place in New York. 2 and 4 are in Los Angeles. We never see the middle of this country.
And we never saw Chicago, even though that's where it
We
was
saw it
supposed
just in that last scene of 1.
Right, it's supposed to be where we... Yeah, right. Oh, and before we get started, we should do 94 list now.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're right. I have mine here. What's your...
Okay.
This is the best, our favorite movies of 1994. What's your number 10?
I'd kind of like to redo a little bit of this. Especially my...
I wouldn't mind either, but I do like all 10 of these quite a bit.
So do I, but number 10 would get the axe. Legends of the Fall.
That's insane, Henry.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that... I mean, it's a very good movie, and it's by my boy Ed Zwick, but...
You love yourself some Ed Zwick. I weirdly
I do.
only like Ed Zwick when he's working on TV, and I don't think you've ever watched any of those shows.
I probably haven't.
Yeah.
No? Oh, all right.
He's,
The
you
Legends
know,
of the Fall.
30-something, and My So-Called Life. And,
Oh,
yeah.
he did that?
Yep.
I didn't know that. So you do like Ed Zwick.
I like him on TV.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Yeah.
What's your number 10?
My number 10 is low-budget Rose Trochet lesbian film, Go Fish.
Never saw it. My number 9 is Clerks.
That's my number 9. Clerks, period. And a big get well there to Kevin Smith, who suffered
sure.
a massive heart attack this past week.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
For sure. Number 8, The Last Seduction.
Oh, what, you jerk it to that when you were younger?
Listen, I have...
That's a yes.
I just realized looking at this list, I have 2 movies by that director on my list this
Who's
year.
the director?
John Dahl.
What else has he made?
Rounders,
Oh, yeah.
but not this year. But yeah, no, he's made a few good films. Yeah.
Former guest Nathaniel just watched Rounders for the first time.
Oh, and what do you think?
He thought it was okay. I'll tell you, he watched 25th Hour on our recommendation, Henry.
Yeah.
He says he thinks he would have been blown away by it when it came out, but it does not hold up. And I will be interested to rewatch that movie.
I already disagree with that opinion, but okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've watched it many times since. But,
Okay.
But interesting.
There were
but
things he liked about it a lot, but he
had never seen it.
right.
Yeah, that is a movie where like seeing it right in the wake of 9/11 did
Probably helps.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So okay, fair enough.
My number 8 is Jeremy Davies boning his mom classic, Spanking the Monkey.
Oh yeah, David O. Russell joint, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, David O. Russell's first film.
I think it's his only film I haven't seen.
You probably haven't seen that one that he fought against getting released. Remember that one? He made a movie between I Heart Huckabees and The Fighter that he like tried to get to not be released, and then it came out after The Fighter was a big hit.
What?
I don't remember the name of it.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen it then.
No one's seen it.
Okay. Number 7, Heavenly Creatures.
My number 7 is Leon, the Professional.
Good movie. Number 6, Crumb.
Ooh, great movie. Every time we do this one, I'm bummed that's not on my list. Number 6 for me is Danny Boyle's Shallow Grave.
That is my number 5.
My number 5 is Tim Burton's Ed Wood.
That's a great movie. That should be on my list. Yeah. My number 4, we've had this conversation before. You never say you've never heard of it all the time. Roman Polanski's Death and the Maiden.
Right. Well, now I've heard of it because we've talked about it before,
Right.
but I still haven't seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Heavenly Creatures.
All right. My number 3 is Red Rock West.
Ooh, so good. John
Yeah.
Dahl.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. My number 3 is Wong Kar-wai's Chung King Express.
I never saw it. My number 2, one of Dan's faves, The Shawshank Redemption.
Sure, Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption.
Titles only.
Yeah. My number 2 is a movie you've never seen, Hoop Dreams.
No, yes, I did.
Oh, you saw it? Okay.
Since we did the lists.
Okay.
Yeah, it would definitely be on my list now. Yes, phenomenal movie. And then
Pulp Fiction.
In case you didn't hear that, guys, that was Pulp Fiction.
That's correct. In the week that Quentin Tarantino finally announced the title and stars of his new film.
Oh.
Yeah.
Educate me.
He's. I was worried about it. He's working on a Manson movie about like the Manson family.
Right.
A subject that has no. I mean, it's just been done to death.
Right.
But this interests me, Henry.
All right.
Your stars are Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Whoa.
Yep. So a positive and a negative there.
Yeah.
And but here, listen to this. Listen to the balls on this title, Henry.
Oh boy. Uh-oh. All right.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Jesus.
Holy shit, dude.
Okay. All right. Is DiCaprio playing Manson, I would assume?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think so.
I could see that more than Brad Pitt.
We'll talk about DiCaprio later in this podcast.
Oh, will we?
Yep.
Huh?
You don't know why?
I don't think
so. Good.
So.
I can't wait to tell you. Okay.
All right.
Death Wish 5, The Face of Death. We're in New York. He steps off the train. Well, no, he's not. He's not getting there in this one. He's been living there for a while. He's in witness protection.
Yeah, I finally agreed. Huh? Paul Stewart.
But what are you talking about? He's murdered like 1 million people.
Yeah, right.
How is he not being put in jail forever? Like death sentence.
Who did he testify against to get witness protection program? Yeah, because he killed all the drug dealers in 4, so there's nobody to really. Yeah, I don't know. He has a buddy, right? He's got Saul Rubinek in the DA's office.
He's pals with Saul Rubinek. Always nice to see Saul Rubinek, by the way.
Love Saul Rubinek.
Yeah.
What is he doing in this film? His career was just fine.
Henry, he clearly was friends with somebody, doing somebody a favor, because I would like to point your attention to the Saul Rubinek credit in the opening credits. Special appearance by Saul Rubinek.
Oh.
He's not getting that credit on any other movie.
That's a good point. Because at this point, he had been in Unforgiven and True Romance and, tons of other things. But those two, right in that era.
Yeah.
And I will point out right away something you probably wouldn't know, even though I'm sure that you love the movie Unforgiven or like it, right?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Okay. Well, 2 unforgiven people in this movie.
Who else?
Saul Rubinek and the fat man who gets bludgeoned and abused at the beginning of the film. He's in Unforgiven as well.
Oh, the guy who's like working at the fashion place?
Yep.
Where they set up Chekhov's acid pool?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, listen. We're in New York, but the problem is we are not shooting in New York anymore. Boy, oh boy, are we shooting on one block of soundstage this entire movie.
You got that right. Wow.
It looks like garbage, and we're in like Vancouver for some of the other exteriors or something.
It is one flat, wide block.
What a shitty-looking gray movie this is.
Oh, it is terrible looking.
So
the music really stood out too, huh?
I didn't notice. Who did the music?
There's barely any in it, but when it's there, it's so funny because it's just like, got it, go. That's it.
It really feels like a TV movie.
It really does. It looks like one too.
Yeah. So Charles Bronson, Paul, what's his name now?
Stewart.
Okay, you're in the witness protection program. We're not going to change your first name. We're going with Paul.
Paul Stewart.
Paul Stewart. Okay.
You didn't want to go with Pablo Castiglione or something. You just keep Paul
Just
Stewart.
come up with some other manly, shitty name, you know?
Right,
You'd be like Frank Bicep.
There you go. The DA should have just gone through like every Steven Seagal name in the movie, you know, Mason Storm or something, and he would have been fine.
Yeah, or every Schwarzenegger name. They always
Right.
gave him some kind of all-American name in those movies.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
Yeah.
like, hi, I'm from Illinois. My name is John Strong.
Right. That's and Bronson just kind of sounds like him, so there you go.
Yeah.
Can't understand what he's saying either.
My name is Steven Adler.
Oh, well, you know, the olds wrote this one too, so.
The olds are in charge of Death Wish. And he's 72 in this movie and looks it.
Oh, for sure.
As-
My God, does he look bad?
Holy shit, he's just an elderly guy in this movie.
He looks like he has gout or something. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
He looks like Roger Ebert on his last legs.
Oh, he's puffy.
He is puffy as fuck. You can tell even from the VHS box cover.
Yeah.
His face doesn't fit on that thing.
They would have cropped it, but they didn't have the technology or the budget because it all went to Bronson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bronson is dating a lovely young lady.
Another English woman. He really likes those English women.
Yeah, he's a Mennonite. What do they call it when you're Anglophile?
Mennonite?
Anglophile.
I don't- Anglophile. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And so he's dating this fashion designer who runs a fashion empire out of this warehouse. It's like they have a runway on one floor where she has a fashion show once a week, and on the bottom floor is a bunch of sewing machines where people are manufacturing the clothing.
It's a sweatshop.
Yeah, and down there's also a pool of acid with no covering on it for no reason. And we set that up in the opening so that you know, listen, before the end of this movie, somebody's getting thrown in this pool of acid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm excited for it.
Me too.
And it didn't disappoint.
No. It really didn't. No.
So this fashion designer that Bronson's dating is the ex-wife of a mob boss.
Yes.
Played by great B-movie actor Michael Parks.
Oh, yes.
Recently
Yes.
deceased? Question mark.
Oh, really?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yes, you're right. May 9th of last year.
But he had a bit of a career resurgence, right? He was in a Tarantino movie at one
He
point.
was in a few Tarantino movies.
Reservoir Dogs?
No.
What am I thinking of?
Kill Bill.
He was in Kill Bill, of course. And he was in the Kevin Smith, Red State, and Tusk. He was in both of those.
He was in Django Unchained, Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, both Kill Bills, so he was doing all right.
I think male directors of a certain age had some reverence for his work as a younger man and put him in a bunch of movies.
Well, I gotta tell you, I can see why, because I'll just throw it out there right now. He's my MVP.
Ooh,
I like him in this.
yeah, no, I like him in it too. He's not my MVP, but I do like him in this movie.
Yeah, I think he's kind of funny. I like his facial expressions, some of which are almost like winking at the camera, like, I can't believe I'm doing this movie, and it's very funny. I think he's really good.
And he sure does commit when he's asked to use the N-word. He puts some stank on it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I'm still reeling from last week's use of the N-word. Sorry.
This is worse, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, last week wasn't the N-word. It was black fag.
Black fag, of course.
Right.
This week, Michael Parks is yelling at a black fella who works in the sweatshop because he seems to have the run of this place, even though he's just like this lady's ex-husband.
Right. Yeah, he controls what happens.
Yeah. So he goes down there. He calls him the N-word. The guy sort of starts to like fight back a little bit, but like in a
They
nice
make
way.
fun of his, and they make fun of the way he talks. Like they do a stereotypical
yeah,
black
Ebonics
voice
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
One
like,
guy says like, "You people just never learn, do you?"
Oh,
Ooh,
boy.
baby. And one of Parks' henchmen, when he starts to argue, says, "Take your problem up with the NAACP."
I'm slight correction there.
Okay.
He says, "Take your problems up with the NWACP."
He does?
Yeah.
What's
I was
that?
pretty sure. Either that is a clever play on the rap group, mixing it with
No,
NAACP,
it's
or
not.
they didn't know.
No,
that
he
it was
says NAACP. You're nuts.
I think he says NWACP, man.
If
'Cause I
he
don't think they
does,
know any better.
I think that's more clever than this movie has in it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it was probably just they didn't even know what the NAACP was. They just went, "Oh, it's NWACP."
All right, so Bronson, he's living the life of leisure now, except for
Yeah.
this mob guy who's like on the fringes of his life.
Right.
So he's got this lady. He's got a stepdaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's who loves Charles Bronson.
Yeah, loves him.
Yeah, kisses the ground he walks on.
Yeah. Well, how could you not? He'd be the world's best dad.
He's the sweetest guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he speaks. Yeah.
So Bronson takes her out to New York's fanciest restaurant. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you.
And pops the old question.
Yeah.
Baby, he's ready for a second wife, finally.
It was fourth or fifth or sixth wife. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
fourth or fifth or sixth significant relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if he told her that it's not generally a good idea to hook up with him. But
Jill Ireland survived.
right. She is the lone survivor.
She's the real Mark Wahlberg of this group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so asks her to marry him. She says, "Absolutely, Bronson. I am in." Okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Meanwhile, her ex is also at this restaurant.
Right.
Okay.
It's a small town.
It's small, New York City, small town.
Yeah.
She decides, I'm going to take this new ring up to the bathroom. I got to drop a deuce. So
Yeah.
she heads up there, but someone is in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay? It's transvestite.
It's Michael Caine from Dress to Kill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately what I thought of. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I forgot to make a hilarious joke at the beginning of this podcast.
Oh, go for it.
I said we're going to cover 1994's greatest fashion movie, and then I was going to start talking about Robert Altman's Ready to Wear.
Pret-a-porter.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, it's just as bad as this, frankly, and
There
you
you
know
go.
I love
Yeah.
Robert Altman.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this fella who becomes a character in this movie, what's his name? Frankie Flakes?
Freddie Flakes.
Freddie
yeah.
Flakes. Now, he's a whole mess of character traits with no real character to speak of.
Right,
He's
right.
he dresses up in women's clothing, but he's a straight guy. And,
He's got dandruff.
And he has dandruff. Yeah, that's why Frankie Flakes or Freddie Flakes, whatever.
Right. Real bad.
They talk about his dandruff all the time in this movie. Every time
It's
he's
a
on
big
screen.
deal.
Yeah.
There's this scene that is, completely ensconced in his dandruff.
Yeah, his lady friend gives him advice about like dandruff shampoos or something.
And then gives him a bath
Yeah, that's right.
where she's laying with one tit hanging out.
Yeah, that's right.
It should be pointed out that there are no rapes in this
No
movie.
rapes in this movie. First Death Wish with no rapes.
But there are breasts in the opening credits and throughout.
Oh, a bunch of breasts in the opening credits. I forgot
Right away.
about that because we're like we're showing backstage at the fashion show.
Yeah, and I honestly, you don't know it's a fashion show right away. So I'm just like, I totally thought we were in a strip club. And so then when it's like fashion show, like, oh, okay, is that what happened?
I
I've never
thought
been to
it
one.
was a fucking ladies' locker room or something.
Yeah.
Like it looked like just one of the guys.
It's backstage at Showgirls.
Yeah, yeah. Preparing for their creamed corn wrestling match.
Right, Paul Verhoeven's there, and all the
More
greats.
blue. Yeah, no. Alan A. Goldstein is back there saying like, "Oh, I'm sorry to do this, guys, but I'm gonna need to see more nipple. A mitzvah, yeah, a mitzvah. All right.
Boy, he's really Jewish, huh?
I know. Hey, don't say that, Henry. That's racist.
I was just responding to your impression.
That's not an impression. I got that on the dark web.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So then I'll stand by what I said.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Okay.
So we're back. We're in the bathroom. Freddie Flakes is dressed as a lady, and he smashes Bronson's lady's face against the bathroom. Hang on, I gotta be careful here. Mirror.
What, you have to be careful.
You know how I get mirror and window confused.
Oh,
sometimes.
right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that weirdness.
Yeah.
Yes, her name's Olivia. Yes, smashes Olivia's face twice into a bathroom window.
And then just grabs a piece of glass and starts carving it up.
Yeah.
He wrecks her face.
Well, yes and no. Because she then goes, they take her in, on life support.
I love, and she's wearing that full face cast.
Oh, yeah. and the doctor says she's never going to look the same.
Oh, that's true. And she gets the bandages off, and she's still pretty good looking.
I made a note.
Yeah.
I made a note. Quote, never going to look the same. And then I wrote a couple lines later, because it happens a while. I wrote, she looks exactly the same.
She's got some scars, but...
but she's still stunning.
Yeah, they're not too deep. It adds character to her face, frankly.
There you go. She's still beautiful.
Now, what happens next in this movie?
He meets...
and by the way, so the... like, Bronson goes to the police and is like, well, it must be connected with her ex, Michael Parks.
Right, because he'd already beat him up a little bit.
And they're like, oh, it's not him. He has an airtight alibi. And I'm like, technically true, but his alibi was that he's in the same restaurant.
New York's finest on the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, yeah, he meets Lieutenant King and his
Who's that?
Asian partner.
Oh, who, by the way, again, no Asian jokes.
No.
You gotta give Death Wish credit. They're casting Asian actors and not being assholes about it.
No, their racism is purely against black people and Hispanics.
Absolutely.
They don't. Yeah, they don't have a thing about Asians.
No, they're fine with them.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And then she and Fatty swiftly get killed in my favorite kill. Well, until the end scene, my favorite kills in the movie.
Oh, is this the fat guy getting hit by the car?
Oh my God!
Oh, baby,
is beautiful.
I wrote I wrote the word textbook because this is textbook movie exploitation death. It's perfect. He gets hit by a car, goes flying through the front window of a restaurant
in slow-mo.
And lands through a table like he just got fucking power slammed by a Dudley boy. It is perfect.
It's great. It's great. So they show him he gets flat ironed into space, and then she opens fire on the oncoming car, and as it turns, the back of the car hits her and flips her around. But I honestly figured, well,
who's this her?
The Asian cop.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's right, because they sent him in with a wire, right?
Right.
To try to get some information, and they were on to him.
Right. So it breaks the sting operation. So she goes chasing him, and they hit her with the back end of the car as they're turning, and she kind of flips and somersaults over it. And I'm kind of thinking, well, she'll be all right because it wasn't like a direct hit. No, she's dead.
She's dead, and now it's also time to kill Bronson's lady because she can't live.
Been way too long into the movie for her to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Death Wish 4, the crackdown. I couldn't believe they killed that lady at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
that sucks. That's too late.
Right. This is pretty early. So they corrected that.
So they kill his fiancée, and she
jumps into a pile of trash.
That was unbelievable. He leaps off of like a sex story, like a 7-story building, and then like we see him scurry away. You're like, what the fuck happened? And then we see, oh, he landed on a couple garbage bags.
He's fine. The young Asian.
What was in those garbage bags? Pillows and marshmallows.
Yeah, the fit young Asian cop gets just kind of hit by a car and she's dead. Bronson, the 73-year-old man, jumps off a building, does a flip into a garbage pile, and he's fine.
Yeah, Korean power.
By the way, old men flipping into garbage piles could be the subtitle of this franchise altogether.
Could be the subtitle of our country.
That's very true.
Okay. Then we come to my favorite death in the movie.
Already?
Yeah. That's right. The poison cannoli.
Oh, yeah.
So
very un-Paul Kiersey.
Yeah, it is interesting because in previous Death Wish movies, he's just shooting motherfuckers.
Right.
And in this movie, he's like coming up with like fun, innovative ways to kill people. I'm wondering whether it's Home Alone influenced.
Right. Well, we know from 3 that he knows how to make booby traps.
He definitely does.
He kills Flaky with a remote-controlled soccer ball.
Yeah, we're not there yet, but I mean we can
no, we are
whatever
past that.
Yeah, he blows up. He buys a remote-controlled soccer ball in a toy store. And
FAO Schwartz, isn't it? Don't they
I think it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
FAO Schwartz. It looks like a fucking Home Depot, but yeah, sure. So he kills Flaky with that, and this other henchman, his name is Chico Piccone.
Yeah.
And
we're doing some more damage to the Italian.
Sure. His character trait, he's eating all the time. That's like his only character trait.
Yeah, he's eating, and his name's Chico, Cheeky, and his pal's name is Sal, and his mama owns an Italian restaurant.
He's always chomping on cannolis, and so he goes to is it his mom's restaurant? I thought it was his sister's.
Yeah, you're right, it's his sister's, because he says something like this. Somebody says something like that. Yeah.
So he goes to his sister's restaurant. Paul Kersey's in there, hiding behind a newspaper. He says, "Hey, you finally got a customer, Bubats," and. Kersey's peeking out from behind the newspaper. When Chico Piccone's not looking, he drops some like fucking poison. I don't know where he got this poison from.
I don't either.
Maybe left over from his hospital visit in Death Wish 2.
It was the ricin from Breaking Bad. He stole it from Lydia.
Maybe he climbed into an alternate universe where he's a surgeon and got it.
Yeah. Nice. That joke will have more relevance in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, so he kills this motherfucker by poisoning his cannoli. And it's a great death. And then we see the newspaper headline the next day, Chico Piccone killed by cannoli.
Nice. Not too far from what the Daily News in
No,
New York
not
Post
at all.
would
Not
do.
at all.
No.
My favorite headline of all time, Henry.
I have one too.
When I ran the Hunter Envoy newspaper at Hunter College when I went to school there, I had a brief column, my favorite Post or Daily News headline of the week.
Okay.
And my favorite one of all time was about a basketball player that came out of the closet.
Uh-huh.
And the headline was, "Coming out in the NB gay."
Mine was when Ike Turner died, and it said Ike beats Tina to death.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's
pretty good.
Fucked up.
Yep. Never forget that as long as I live.
Never forget.
Yep.
Hashtag never forget.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Tasteful. So it ends up basically with so Michael Parks, after that lady dies, got custody of the daughter.
Right. That's believable.
And it is believable. I was fine with that. He is the biological father.
He is the biological father. He's an Irish gangster with a record, but, whatever.
He's got money, though. Does he have a record? Do we know that for sure?
Oh, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't.
Maybe he's kept
they
clean.
say that. Yeah, I don't know.
So he
I don't know.
is treating her pretty badly.
Yeah.
He's not a great dad.
No. Yeah.
There's one scene where she's like sitting outside his office and he's like asking his girlfriend to give him a blowjob.
Right.
Remember that?
Right. Come over here. He's got like a drink in his hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's like flaunting his lap at her.
Right.
Yeah. So, hey, by the way, I saw that movie Game Night yesterday.
Yeah.
There was a scene where you see a guy's boner. So, fuck 50 Shades of Grey.
There you go. Proof positive.
Proof positive.
Yeah.
Okay. So they end up back in the fashion place, which, by the way, he got control of after she died and has been like running into the ground, like making the women dress up in chainmail. How about that scene?
That was great. He's great.
That was dynamite. So he's in the basement fighting these fuckers. He shrink wraps a guy.
That was cool.
That was great. And then, of course, Michael Parks shows up, and we get that acid pool back in the picture. And he acid pools him up.
Yeah, he knocks him into the acid pool, and before he does that, he cuts him, right? He cuts him with a bottle to kind of...
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Make him feel like he made his fiance feel, I guess,
That's
for
right.
5 seconds.
They actually have a long fist fight, which is not terrible. And
well, not much of a fight, but
no.
yeah, Bronson just kind of kicks the shit out of him, and then, yeah.
They're running around, though.
Yeah, a lot of running. There's more running than there is anything else.
Yeah. And then Saul Rubinek shows up, to arrest him, presumably, and sees that he killed Michael Parks, and he lets him go like they do in every fucking Death Wish movie.
Not Saul Rubinek, the detective does, because he gets shot.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Remember the old detective? Yeah.
And Charles Bronson says, "If you need any help, give me a call." And there's a freeze frame of him walking away, and that's it. Death Wish 5, The Face of Death.
Great freeze frame. Yeah. I don't know. It's been a while, but it was maybe the fastest I ever hit eject on a DVD. As soon as they freeze framed, it was like I could get out.
I watched the full credits on this baby.
No, freeze frame, credit, eject. Yeah, I was good. I was fine with that.
What do you give it, Henry? Do you have anything else to say about this movie?
There's not much. It's really thin.
I'm excited. One of my favorite podcasts, We Hate Movies. They just do a bad movie each week. They covered Death Wish 5, The Face of Death this week, and I skipped the episode until we could record because I didn't want to be influenced by them.
Sure.
And I'm very excited to hear that episode because it's like an hour and 50 minutes of them talking about this movie, and I have no idea how they did it.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive. I mean, I guess...
Although they hadn't covered the first 4, so maybe they get into that a little bit, but we'll see.
Sure. Yeah, true. I don't know. I mean, obviously there's other stuff in here we could pick and choose, but it doesn't really have the little nuggets like 2, 3, and 4 do to, like, look around. It's kind of just straight up, there's not much to say.
It's a real time waster, this baby.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I think, at this point, a little bit of Death Wish fatigue.
Sure, absolutely. So, what do you give it?
1.
Me too.
MVP, LVP?
MVP is the acid pool.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Just the idea of it and having it there.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's like the laser hallway in Resident Evil.
Yeah,
I just want more of this thing.
More acid pool. Just
why is it there? Is this like the center of the Earth? Is this like that hole that Daisy Ridley climbed into in Star Wars The Last Jedi? I want to know why this acid pool is there.
This is the place where Jason went when Jason Goes to Hell, when he gets sucked down.
The final Friday.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You mean when fucking Freddy's hand grabs him?
Right.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. My LVP is Alan Goldstein, because he sucks.
What, me?
I mean, just yeah, you. He sucks. My Lord, have mercy. He is terrible.
On the fourth night, we made Death Wish 5. Okay.
Okay. I have a superhero count of
Wait,
2.
I don't have an LVP yet.
All right.
Who's it gonna be, Henry?
Ooh, LVP? Well,
I'm gonna go with Menahem Golan. Stop it
there you
already.
go. Yeah, there you go.
Also,
That's
he gave himself a credit where like it doesn't even say what he did in the movie. Just the the first credit of this movie, Henry, is just Menahem Golan's name in all caps. I loved
it's
that.
true. That's true. I love the ego on that. It's great. That is phenomenal. It's a real Jerry Bruckheimer thing going on there. So the 2 superhero count. One was the old lieutenant in here, Lieutenant Mickey King, the Asian cop's partner, the old man, played by an actor named Kenneth Walsh. He was in an episode of Smallville.
Oh, Canada. There you go.
Yeah, playing a drunk Santa.
That's great.
Yeah. And then an actor that we didn't even talk about, but I think we've had him before, a great Hispanic actor who I've somehow wound up in this shit, but Miguel Sandoval.
A good actor, yeah. I mean, he's been in a ton of shit.
Right, and he was the crooked DA's friend. I mean, the DA's crooked friend, Hector Vasquez. He was the barman in Howard the Duck.
Okay.
And he was in Lois and Clark.
Okay.
Playing Eduardo Friez.
Is that like Mr. Freeze's Latino brother?
I love it. Yeah, definitely. And in Superman the Animated Series, he played a character by the name of Doctor.
Oh, so probably just a doctor.
A doctor.
Yeah.
So that's that. That's Death Wish 5, The Face of Death.
Okay. Now, Menahem Golan, after this, tries to get a 6th movie off the ground.
Oh boy, yeah.
He was going to replace Charles Bronson, because they weren't friends anymore.
No.
And have it be called Death Wish 6, The New Vigilante.
Sure.
Never got made because Death Wish 5 tanked so bad.
Yeah.
Then we don't hear about Death Wish again until 2006. Sylvester Stallone decides he's going to write, direct, and star in a remake.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And he decided, what would be interesting? What if he's a cop?
Yeah, I read that. Yeah, good idea.
Great
Stallone.
idea.
Yeah. Full of ideas. Yeah.
Then you just have a gun. We don't need to send him to Tucson. All right.
I got an idea for a new movie. It's near. It's gonna be called Death. You can see my breath. Adrian. Yeah.
Who am I becoming, Henry? I did a shitty Stallone and a shitty Schwarzenegger in this episode.
No, that wasn't bad.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I mean, both of us did better Stallones during the Rocky coverage because I think we were inundated.
It was so fresh.
With them. Yeah, we were inundated with them.
Yeah. Okay, now, so Stallone's gonna make it. That falls through. Then they decide they still want to do a remake. They hire Joe Carnahan to write and direct. Okay.
That's right.
Now, do you know? I mean, what's he done, Henry?
Okay,
do you want to go through his shit?
Sure.
You're a fan.
Well, here's the thing with Mr. Carnahan. Okay. He has directed one great movie. I love this movie. I still don't think Dan's ever seen it.
I've seen it. We've talked about this so many times. You're referring to Narc.
Yes, I couldn't remember if you've seen it. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. I love it. I think it's great.
It's got Speed 2 Cruise Controls, Jason Patrick, a.k.a. Wayward Pines Season 2's Jason Patrick.
The best thing he ever did. I mean,
what about Speed 2 Cruise Control?
We'll find out when we cover it.
That's right.
which we need to do sometime soon because we had a listener a while back.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna be talking about the director of it pretty soon.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so he did Narc, and then I did see The Gray.
Yeah, the Liam Neeson Wolf movie.
Yeah, and that's not bad. I don't remember much about it, but it's a very well done action movie.
His idea for Death Wish was to use the whole cast of The Gray. He wanted to put Liam Neeson in the.
I would have taken it.
Yeah, not bad, right? And he's all about old man action movies. So.
Absolutely. I did not see his first movie, Blood, Guts, Bullets, and Octane.
No, I did see Smokin' Aces.
It looked awful. I didn't bother.
It has a couple moments. That's about the best I can say for it. It's trying very hard to be cool.
I saw well, that's what he does. I saw the A-Team in theaters.
Yeah, and I was going to go with you, and and I didn't. You went without me with Aaron, like a dick. I was genuinely hurt at the time.
Why didn't you go?
We had made plans to go, and then I came into work one day, and you and Aaron were talking about it, and I was like, guess I'm not going to that.
Oh,
Piece of shit.
I'm sorry, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Boy.
And you guys were like, don't worry, it sucks. And I was like, but it would have been fun.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been. It was not a fun experience. Yeah, so Joe Carnahan, two things in his pocket, but overall, I get, thumbs down, man. He's a one trick pony. Narc.
He also wrote that movie Pride and Glory. You like that, right?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay, you don't.
No, that is bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, he's one of those. He's a one-hit wonder. He's a video killed the radio star. That's what he is, and that's it. That's all we get.
Okay.
That was 16 years ago, man. I mean, he's had a lot of time to redeem himself, and he has not. I'm not a fan.
So he's no bueno.
No.
Okay, so he drops out as director, and we get at some point this other guy was gonna direct and have Benicio del Toro as Kersey.
I would have liked that.
That wouldn't have gone over. Come on, he has to be white. If there is one character in film history that you can't do colorblind casting on, it's Paul Kersey. This guy's a white guy.
That's very funny. Yeah, I mean, it would be way too philosophical to get into it if it was actually a non-white character. It would plumb the depths of psychology. So we're not going to go that far. Yeah.
So the Bear Jew himself, Eli Roth, he stomps in with his 2x4 and decides he's going to direct the Death Wish remake.
I want your thoughts on Eli Roth.
Here's my thing with Eli Roth. I think he'd be a good film critic.
Oh.
He seems to know a lot about movies. He has an interest in and a reverence for film history.
Right.
I'm not sure this guy can direct. Every so often there's a shot that's real good looking, but I'm not into it.
So he's like a Tarantino without the directing chops.
He's like a lot of those guys that tried to be Tarantino. Do you remember Rob Weiss, who made Amongst Friends in the early 90s?
I don't.
Yep. And then the fellow who did Boondock Saints. He's one of those.
That movie is fucking terrible.
And he's a little bit better than those guys, but not great.
I like two of his movies.
Do you? Okay, well, let's go through his... there's Cabin Fever. That's his first film, right?
I liked it, yeah.
That's an interesting movie, sort of let down by a bad cast, I think.
Not very good acting, but I had fun.
It's okay. Yeah. He follows that up with a movie that was a huge hit, Hostel, which we can cover someday. Yeah. I saw it at the time, and I hadn't seen any of the Saw movies, so this was like the first in like the torture porn craze that I checked out.
Yeah,
and I was so fucking grossed out by it.
Right.
Like, it's not a scary movie at all. It was just fucking gross. I like looked away from the screen every 5 minutes.
I think it's nerve-wracking. I think it's
I
very
don't know.
well done.
I think if I saw it today, I would be. I'm sufficiently desensitized from years of watching that shit to not care. But like, at that time, that was a really shocking movie to me. But it's not bad, and it has some good actors in it. I think Jay Hernandez is kind of an underrated actor.
Yeah, he's good in that. I agree, and actually I had a similar experience. I hadn't seen really any of the Saw movies, so this was sort of my first one, too, of this genre. And I was genuinely shocked, and I was pretty riveted. But also, like you, I had to look away. I hadn't been desensitized yet.
I own it on DVD.
Yeah, I mean, I could...
Because I didn't buy it on purpose. I went to Blockbuster, and they gave me 2 bags when I left, and one of the bags was a guy that behind me was buying Hostel pre-owned, and I never went back with it because I was like, oh, I'll own Hostel.
Sure. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I saw Hostel 2. I thought it was garbage.
I never bothered.
Yeah, I don't know why I did.
Hostel Part 2, by the way. We got real highfalutin there.
Yes, yeah, it's garbage.
What's his next movie after that?
Well, he did the little teeny 40-second trailer in Grindhouse.
Which one does he do? Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
Funny. Yeah. And that's it for me. I turned off. I watched The Green Inferno.
Ah, you turned it off. I did too.
Too revolting.
Yeah, I tried to watch The Green Inferno. I heard him on Doug Loves Movies, the podcast, and he had his girlfriend on there with him, who's like the lead actress in The Green Inferno, much younger, and they were both very charming, and I liked the way he talked about movies, and he made The Green Inferno sound really interesting, and so I tried to watch it. It was shit. And which is why I say he'd be a better film critic. I like what he has to say about movies. I just don't like the movies he makes.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
So this is the version that finally gets made. We have Death Wish. It came out yesterday from when we're recording right now, on March 2nd, 2018. Directed by Eli Roth, written by Joe Carnahan, with a budget, of $30 million.
Yeah. Yeah. Moderate budget.
Budget, but it looks like it's going to make its money back, but maybe not be a hit, because right now it's tracking to make 10 or 11 million in the first weekend. They thought it was going to do more like 16, 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think probably some marketing and timing would probably affect this movie.
I think timing is big, not even just because of what's going on in the world, but just because people are still lining up for Black Panther.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's true.
And number 2 this week is
Red Sparrow.
Red Sparrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But people seem to like it as a B+ cinema score rating, so the people that are actually seeing it are enjoying it. But who is seeing it? Let's talk about our experiences going to see Death Wish 2018 in theaters. How was your experience? You saw it before me.
I had to see it Thursday night. Nothing remarkable about the experience. I will admit, I felt strange buying a ticket for it, because it's not something I wanted to give money to.
Why?
Because of what's happening in the world and what's happening with the gun debate.
How is that the fault of this movie? I may or may not be playing devil's advocate here. These are just honest questions.
Sure.
Questions I'd like to see answered.
Sure. No, the movie, of course, can exist in its own universe, having nothing to do with what's happening right now. But for a couple of reasons. One, I would never have seen this movie to begin with because it just looked like shit, and I had no desire to see it.
I wouldn't have seen it without the podcast either. That's true.
Right. Okay. So, but then I will make this very clear. I felt guilty for like in my own conscience, because where I live, I mean, there's nothing to feel guilty about because this movie's practically a fucking public service announcement from where this audience is concerned. So it doesn't. I knew nobody was going to look at me weird at all, but I just didn't feel like giving a movie like this my money. And so you said why, and I just said because it's promoting. Of course it is. Inevitably, it's a movie called Death Wish about a guy who gets a gun and just kills people.
Okay.
So I'm not interested in that, and you know.
I felt the same way. That's why I bought a ticket to game night.
You changed, yeah.
So
you didn't want to give the movie money?
I really didn't. But you know, my theater was pretty packed on a Friday at 3:15.
Mine was not, but I couldn't have done what you did because the theater I'm not excusing. I admire that you bought a ticket for something else, but I went to a theater where they have assigned seats.
Yeah,
so
mine did too, but I don't listen to that shit.
Well done. But mine was not packed, but there was like 10 white people there. Yeah.
Okay, I saw it in the 34th Street AMC.
Okay.
I paid for game night. Went to go see that first. Enjoyed it. Okay. Needed a palate cleanser. And then
now, why did you need a palate cleanser?
Because I didn't want to see this. I didn't want to see this movie. And it's not totally because of what's going on. I mean, it is. You all heard my gun rant in our episode on Death Wish and Death Wish 2. But it was also just because it's like it's 2018 and I'm going in theaters to sit through a fucking movie directed by Eli Roth and starring Bruce Willis. What are we doing?
Well, of course, but you know, I since you had me explain my conscience level, let's hear what you were thinking. I mean, in terms of the movie, you asked me how is it the fault of this movie.
I tried really hard to go into this movie apolitically because I'd read a couple, though not many, reviews.
So did I.
Before walking in, and it seemed to me that liberals were really pumped to jump down this movie's throat, and conservative people were really pumped to talk about how fucking delightful and great this is.
Okay.
So, my favorite examples of both are, and they're really well written, both of them. David Ehrlich for IndieWire wrote a review of Death Wish where he said some really positive things in it, but also said like every time something in the movie made him smile, he felt shitty about himself.
Right.
And even though he had positive things to say about it, he gave it a C. And a 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. And then our friend Christian Toto wrote on Hollywood and Toto a glowing review.
Really? Glowing?
Oh, my God. Holy shit was this guy chuffed. And he's still pumped about this movie because he's been tweeting about it nonstop all weekend.
Really?
I think he's trying to mobilize the conservative troops to check it out.
Okay.
You know, SJWs are going to be real mad about this movie, and he wants to make it clear that there's an audience that wants to see movies like this.
Right.
But I understand both sides. There are very fine people on both sides of this one.
But you know, we'll get into the quality of the movie, which is something I think that I know for a fact that I was able to watch this movie unbiased, despite my
and I think I was too.
I know I was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I tried my hardest to walk into this movie as not as someone who is fucking angry every day about gun control and the NRA. But as a movie fan who just got through covering 5 Death Wish movies and didn't totally hate myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do have a ranking for you at the end.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah,
You did it.
I did it. Now, so okay, the theater was kind of a bummer because it was all fucking white grown men by
Sure.
themselves.
Oh, really?
It was fucking weird.
See, that's scary to me.
Yeah, it was
You know
fucking
how
terrible. No, it was like that, dude. And they were all wearing hoodies like fucking Bruce Willis was in the movie. They come in. It's like white men between the ages of like 40 and 60. That was the entire audience. And it was like, okay, so like when I was young, my mom got upset at me because I went to go see in an all black theater, Henry. Mm-hmm. Like it was like it was like there was a metal detector in this theater. It was like the bad theater in town. And
Yeah.
I went to go see the original Kings of Comedy.
Okay.
And
Sure, I saw that in theaters too. Yeah.
My mom was like, "You can't go see that movie in that theater."
Yeah.
All right?
Right.
It's a little bit racist, but I love you, Mom. And so, but this to me was one of my scarier times at the multiplex. It's Death Wish opening day.
Absolutely.
Everyone's got a hoodie. It was a creep show in there.
Absolutely, and I mean, I hesitate to say this because it's going to sound self-righteous, but it's so fucking true. The flip side of God, I don't want to lump them into a category, but there'd be a lot of white people who would be nervous going to see. Let's just say, in certain areas of the country, would be nervous going to see Black Panther in like downtown Atlanta or something. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because they just have an innate fear of being around that many black people or, something like that. And I have always had, and this is true, I have had a primal fear if I like walk into a bar in a certain area or go to a movie theater or a movie like this, and I'm surrounded by all white people, I get a feeling of sort of quasi-nausea. Because I find that so disconcerting.
Yeah, there's something that tingles your spine. Like, oh, I'm in the wrong place right now.
Yes,
that's how I felt.
And I don't know if that's how I was raised or if that's part of my, political beliefs. But I've never had a problem going. Like when I was younger, really quick, I'll just say that when I was younger, 19, 20, there was a very, very poor neighborhood in Pittsburgh where I used to go see jazz. It was called the Crawford Grill. I hope they're still open, but it's actually quite famous. A lot of Louis Armstrong played, a lot of players. And me and a couple of my friends would be like the only white people in there. And never once did I feel, not just because I was underage, first of all, but never once did I ever feel nervous or out of place. But anytime we'd like venture to another section of Pittsburgh and go to like what would be considered more of like a lower class white bar, I would always get real nervous because I knew I was going to hear words in there I didn't want to hear from people that I didn't want to be associated with. And so I think it kind of has carried over into my adulthood. Uh-huh. And so seeing this similar to what your experience probably was.
One of my favorite people on Twitter, Zodiac Motherfucker, has referred, and he was very excited about this movie. He's seeing it, I think, right now. He was like live tweeting going to see it earlier, and he has described the new Death Wish as the redneck Black Panther.
There you go.
Which I think is perfect. It's just
that's
like
great, yeah.
Dumb white people, get in there. You should all be going to see this.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But let's get into our actual opinions on this movie.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Kersey, Henry.
Dr. Kersey.
Dr. Kersey. Paul Kersey is now a doctor, played by an elderly-looking Bruce Willis. Oh. He's starting to melt. He looks like fucking J.K. Simmons in this movie.
He looks... he looks bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks bad.
Not great. And he seems bored, too.
very, very bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although,
And he's 62, so Bronson was younger than him by a decade when he did the first Death Wish, which is interesting to contemplate.
Oh, younger. Yeah. No, it's true. You're right.
Bronson was like 50.
This movie weirdly is aging Paul Kersey.
That's right. He's 10 years older than Bronson was, so yeah.
So he's got a wife and a daughter. The wife is Elizabeth Shue, who
always liked her.
Yeah, they reached into the spirit realm and plucked her.
The Stir of Echoes realm.
Yeah, and the daughter is they de-aged the daughter from the original Death Wish. You might recall she was married to a lovely man, and she's now in this movie 18 and about to go to NYU.
Right.
All right. She's played by. Do you know this actress's name?
Is it Kimberly Elise?
No, that's the black cop.
Oh.
It's Camilla Moroni. Camilla Moroni. Okay. AKA. Get ready for this, Henry. Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriend.
Really?
Yes.
She's 18. How old is she in real life?
20.
You're looking?
No, I said 20.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. Cut out. Okay, she's 20?
20, yeah.
Oh, Leo. All right.
Pussy posse for life, baby! Yeah! Get in there.
Okay.
She's a very charming young lady who is dating an untalented, piggish piece of shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Fuck that guy. All right, so he's got Elizabeth Shue and this young, hot daughter. And we're in modern day, okay? It's 2018. Within the first 5 minutes of this movie, we get a Postmates reference. We get an iPad reference.
Yeah. We're well aware where we are.
Yeah. Bruce Willis is a very successful surgeon. He takes his daughter and his wife out to a lovely pizza dinner.
Just to make sure we know we're in Chicago, I noted the
deep dish. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're in Chicago in this movie because they tried to make it political, right? They're in Chirac.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that we know Chicago is the most dangerous place in the world.
Yeah, the Chi. Yeah, it's a war zone, according to Donald
War
Trump.
zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
Thanks, Obama.
All right. Okay. Listen, yeah. Mm-hmm. Home of the Onion headquarters, a war zone. So, now, fucking, what else we got going on? So, also, Bruce Willis's brother is over there at dinner.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yep, the great Vincent D'Onofrio.
The effortlessly charming Vincent D'Onofrio, my MVP of this movie.
Mine too.
Oh, I love it.
Yep.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Now, so they go out. It's time to go home. They get a valet. Not a good idea.
He's Hispanic. Even worse idea.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Why would you give your car to a Hispanic guy? Come on, guys.
Willis is nice to him. He asks about his tattoo, which is MJ. Hey, you Michael Jordan fan? No, it's my name, Miguel Javier.
Yeah.
Always a good thing to tell the guy whose wife you're about to murder.
Yeah, smart move.
Yeah. So he takes note of Bruce Willis's address, takes a picture on his phone, a picture he will go on to never delete.
Yeah. Good writing.
And Carnahan, baby.
Yep.
It is kind of not a great... It's a bad script, but it is stylish. Eli Roth makes this thing look pretty good.
It is a lazy, if not, it's a well-directed, and the screenplay is not terribly written. I wrote those notes down.
There's a couple of good lines, and some... I do think... So once he goes on the vigilante spree, there's a sort of fucking Greek chorus of like YouTube videos and like radio show hosts, And
Right.
I bristled at that at first because it's like, oh, we're trying to be modern. But it did kind of work the same way like him collecting the magazine articles in the first one did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a bad device.
No,
It wasn't a bad device.
Worked for me.
Yeah.
Worked for me. And him learning how to shoot from YouTube videos seemed about right.
And in what moment allowed me to check out in bliss, if just for the audio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I know you thought of me.
Listen, I thought of you both times this fucking song played during this movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry that it was used in this movie, but that's okay. I don't know why it was used in this movie. I don't know where he's coming back from, but yeah, he's learning. He's cutting his own bullet. He knows how to do all this shit, I guess, from YouTube. Scary. He's like making his own ammo to the tune of Back in Black.
Yeah.
And-
if this
and
movie
on-
was made like 20 years ago, he would have been using like the Anarchist Cookbook or something.
Right, exactly. And on the left side, they're showing him repairing people with sutures, while destroying things on the right side of the panel, split screen.
That's right. He saves lives and also takes them.
Right.
But let's get to the scene where that develops his vigilantism.
Yes, let's do that.
So he's at work at the old hospital
Yeah.
with his hospital buddy Mike Epps, who's in this movie for no reason.
Buck.
He's a good actor, and he is in like 2 scenes. And gets nothing to do. I don't understand his presence. And he's uncredited.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Is he a Death Wish fan? What's going on here?
I don't know.
Uncle Buck himself, Mike Epps.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, you said that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the criminals show up at Kersey's house, baby.
Mhm.
And it's fucking they're wearing masks.
So we can't see any sort of character at all. If it's not written, it's also not seen.
They're 3 white guys, right?
Essentially.
I think so.
Yeah.
And they break into the house. They tie up the daughter.
Right.
And I love that they didn't bring rope. They like sit her down in a chair, and then one of the guys is like, "Where's the rope?" And he's like anxiously looking under the sink. And one guy's like, "Try the garage."
Well, I don't know what they were. I mean, I think they meant to just do a home invasion and steal some jewelry.
Absolutely, yeah. They
and
want to go in his safe.
Right, and I don't know. It's not well written whether or not they expected them to be home or not, because
No, they did. They expected them to be home, but just the ladies of the house who they can take down.
Yeah.
But it was set up earlier in the movie that the daughter knows Krav Maga.
It was set up. And
Yeah.
Not really used, but
No,
yeah.
I thought she was gonna fucking start like kicking these guys' asses like
Well,
the little
so did
girl
I.
in Lost World Jurassic Park with her
All right.
gymnastics. But no, she gets sat down in the chair. There's some suggestion one of them might rape her, which I did not need, but thankfully doesn't happen.
No, there's no. They took. There's no rape. I mean,
yeah, but there's like.
Oh, no,
he's
it's
like
awful.
feeling up her inner thighs.
Absolutely, it's
Yeah.
very, very cringe-inducing. I'm just saying it's interesting they took it out because.
Hey, Michael Winner told me that rape is evergreen. It'll never
that's
go
right.
away.
That's right. It doesn't go out of style.
Yeah.
That's right. But yeah, so essentially it goes awry, right? And he shoots one of them and then says "fuck it" and shoots them both.
That's right.
So
We cut outside too. We never see them get shot. It's
They don't see them
not
get shot.
a
It's
terrible scene.
no, but it's bizarre, and I'm not advocating showing anything, but unlike the first movie, which is exploitative to the extreme, it by doing so shows you his wrath and why he's so upset, and by not even showing them getting shot.
Well, this
And
movie tries to get away with
very
it because
weird.
we do see the daughter in a coma. She doesn't die.
Right, but I was just gonna let me just
Go ahead.
quickly,
Go ahead.
No, yeah. I was just gonna say by having an actor with the limited emotional range these days, if he ever had it, who we did praise to the high heavens.
He had it.
Right, we praised him to the high heavens during Die Hard.
He had it up through like Unbreakable.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But by having an actor like him, as opposed to maybe having Vincent D'Onofrio in the lead role, it's not a lot to hang on to, because there's not a lot of, like, the grief is just stone-faced, and it's gone over very quickly. So we have really no transition.
But I think it means something more to the audience of this movie to see Bruce Willis in this role.
Well, it's a marketing decision.
Yeah, I mean, but is it a marketing decision? What was the last big Bruce Willis hit?
That makes no difference. If this, I thought about it. I mean, if you would have put Dean Norris or Vincent D'Onofrio in this movie starring, no one would have cared.
No, Bruce Willis, absolutely right. I mean, Liam Neeson would have worked.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, I immediately in the movie theater, I was thinking, boy, put Vincent in that role.
Hey,
and
Henry,
then we
I got it. You know who this should have been?
Who?
Hear me out here.
Okay.
Mel Gibson.
That would have been a confusing movie to watch.
What? He's fine now.
Apocalypto.
He's fine. He directed Hacksaw Ridge. Everything's forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that was a very good movie.
It was okay.
Well, it needed a lead change.
Yeah, could have used a lead with the head of a man rather than a baby.
Right, a lead who didn't cry the whole time. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's another thing about this movie is he's getting cucked the whole time before he turns vigilante. Like that, it's like the rage of the successful white man.
Right.
Like, so, like, we get that scene at, like, the soccer game where, like, that guy wants to kick his ass and, like, he's like, I think you should stop cursing at the game. And the guy's like, do you want me to fucking kick your ass?
Yeah, right.
No. And it's like, oh, listen to this fucking snowflake mewling at this soccer game.
Right, that'll change.
Yeah, and then D'Onofrio's like asking him for money, and he's like, "Sure, brother, I'll give you money." Oh, you fucking cuck! And so he's got to get like enlightened in the ways of like, problematic fucking white guy anger.
That's right.
Yeah,
schooled in standing up for himself and being a man.
Yeah.
Every soccer dad watching that movie is just like, man, that's been me at my kid's soccer game.
If only I had a fucking gun.
Oh man, I would punch the shit out of that guy.
The way he gets a gun in this movie,
clumsy.
He's just like operating on a criminal, and it falls out of his pocket.
And
no one notices except for him.
Fucking retarded.
That is really stupid, man.
Yeah, really dumb. It makes the long, arduous setup in the first one look like a creative decision. You know what I mean? Like when he visits Arizona, and it goes on forever. But it's like, boy, that would have kind of been a cooler thing to redo here.
But here's the thing, Henry. The Tucson thing in the first one's fucking ridiculous.
Absolutely.
But why can't Paul Kersey just like go into a gun store and buy a gun? I mean, I guess.
Well, he could.
It's because like at the end of the movie, he has to like file off the thing and whatever. But
here's the joke, and because it's intertwined, and it does tie into my critique of the movie, and probably some stuff we'll get to in a little bit. But he doesn't go in because he goes in, he sees he's on camera, and he has to register, and they make like a really quick synopsis of what it's like to register to buy a gun, and he decides.
And this scene was pure Eli Roth, where like Eli Roth's style was a little bit missing from like the first act of this movie. Here he is. Here's the Eli Roth of like dumb like hot girl humor and heads blowing up.
Absolutely. And so quickly we realize it's such a chore to buy a gun in this country that he's not going to bother with all that time, because then he says, how long before it's all approved? And she's like, 90 days. Oh, I can't wait that long. Okay, forget it.
And it's so funny because that scene didn't connect with me at all because she described all that shit, and I'm thinking that sounds easy.
Right. Well, that's why the scene, it doesn't know what it wants to say, which was one of my problems with the movie in general, and why I have in my ultimate review of it. It's just a clunky film. It's actually, I never found it to be too political, really. Either way.
No. Because I think Eli Roth is in general a liberal.
That's what I thought.
And so I think all he's trying to do in this movie is make a Death Wish movie. Like, he loves Death Wish, and he's making a Death Wish movie. So he's not paying attention to the politics at all. But unfortunately, you kind of have to, because even the original Death Wish paid attention to politics a little bit.
Yes, it did. It talked about Nixon and all that stuff. And yeah, so that's why that scene is just really, it's directed well, but it is a written mess. I mean, am I supposed to come away from it with the message that he simply doesn't want to be registered, because that would work? Or am I supposed to take away a message that it's so long to get a gun that he wants to just do it on his own? You know what I mean? It's a completely...
I think we're supposed to walk away from it just thinking, man, that gun lady in the shop, Bethany, was fucking hot, bro.
Yeah, well, then it succeeds. So I don't know. I mean, so it's just very clunky. Yeah. So we'll get to it when we give our.
So he gets the gun
yeah.
from the criminal in the OR, and he finally kills his first man in front of a Bonefish Grill.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Oh, very good seafood there, by the way. I've been there.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's like fancy food for like people who think they have a palate, but they don't.
Right, like the Olive Garden.
Yeah, like the Olive Garden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So he's shooting dudes on the street. It's like a carjacking or something.
Right. Yeah.
And someone gets this on their phone, a video of it, and he gets dubbed the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, they took away. I know that was very noticeable. Didn't you think that was funny? Like, why did they did away with the term vigilante? What was that? What was that about?
They use that word in this. They use that word in this
once or twice, like the radio commentators use it, but like in the original. They use it. That's
the
what
vigilante.
He is.
Now, in this, he's the Grim Reaper, and maybe it's to superheroize him a little bit.
I guess
he also has a costume in this, which he doesn't really in the first one. He has that hoodie.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
which is it echoes of Unbreakable. Jesus Christ!
You're right. Yeah.
You know. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he kills these motherfuckers. He doesn't know how to shoot a gun yet, so like, what is it, like the recoil like gets him and cuts his hand?
Yeah, and the automatic it cuts his hand open.
Yeah, and he runs away. He gets on the subway. There's a redhead girl sitting in a seat on the subway, and there are empty seats all over the subway. He goes up to the redhead girl, says, "Get up," and she does, and he sits down. Fucking the privilege of this asshole.
Weird moment.
Yeah.
Very, very strange, because again, I guess supposed to show that he's been nervous or he's jarred by his first killing, but there's no follow through on that. So he does just look like an asshole looking for a seat.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like someone who needs to who's shivering or has who cries or no, man, he's just in it.
Yeah.
Like right away.
Next, he takes care of a little kid in the hospital who tells him about a drug dealer who's calling havoc on his way to the bus stop.
Right.
And he goes by the ice cream man, and he has like a little ice cream cart with drugs inside.
Right.
That seems untenable. He'd get caught.
Well, I don't know about your drug dealer, but my drug dealer kept his code name private. Yeah. So when he was murdered by a white man, it wasn't just instantly known all over the press as Ice Cream Man killed.
I know it's true. They say that on the fucking radio.
Yeah, it's like the Joker has been captured again.
Yeah, Sway on the formerly of MTV VJ fame says the Ice Cream Man was killed.
Yeah, it's like what? So he was a known drug.
That's my favorite Paul Kersey kill in the movie, though.
because he's just so quick.
He shoots the fuck out of him, and then, in a moment which is so fucking realistic, people from the neighborhood just descend on the cart and start to steal the drugs. I thought that was a dynamite moment.
The kill was good. I'll give you that.
I thought that whole scene worked for me, man.
Yeah, I liked the kill because I liked its the quickness of it. There's no mucking about, as they'd say in England.
Yeah.
They just go to it.
It's around this point that the lights came on in my theater, and stayed on for the rest of the movie.
In a weird way, I would have probably found that comforting.
Well, I found it helpful because I was taking notes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so now I had a light.
You could. I meant so you could keep a radar on all the.
Good point. I could look around.
White guys. Yeah,
that's true. There was one couple too, just sucking face during this movie.
Come on, honey. I'm gonna go see Death Wish.
You don't think it was her idea?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so the lights stayed on. I was pretty okay with it, but again, watching movies at home is better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now what happens after this? I sort of lost track. He starts just tracking down. We said it was interesting in the original how he never comes across the people that killed his wife.
Right. And
in this movie, he's tracking them all down.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's just a series of set pieces with very gory death scenes because that's what Eli Roth does. So that's
when it really comes through that it's Eli Roth. For me, it did.
Yeah. So one guy, he injects fucking battery acid into his veins and then explodes his fucking head with a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, "Are you going to kill me?" And Bruce Willis goes, "No, Jack is." And he gets rid of the car jack and it falls on his head.
Yeah, we get a lot of that quick shot gore that Eli Roth loves. And almost a little incongruent with the rest of the tone of the movie. It's bizarre. It's the movie is just I guess is my overall feeling. It's a movie that just doesn't go all the way. It's very cautious. It's just a weird.
Well, it's a Death Wish movie, Henry. He's trying to just do a Death Wish movie, but with little spices of Eli Roth movie thrown in.
Yeah, but it's also just not. It's oddly enough to me, it wasn't ballsy enough, and then you get these weird things where I even read one review of it afterwards. That noticed something I noticed. I mean, it's not that hard to notice, but when Dean Norris, who by the way is excellent with very limited time,
the cop in this movie is Under the Dome's Dean Norris.
Okay, Breaking Bad's Dean Norris.
Starship Troopers, Dean Norris. Yeah.
Dean Martin Norris.
Dean Martin Norris.
Summer wind. Yeah. Oh, sorry, that was Sinatra. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they go visit Vincent D'Onofrio in the batting cage, and it's implied that he is a possible suspect.
Because he's batting lefty, and the video of the Grim Reaper shows Bruce Willis shooting with his left hand.
Yeah, but what a stupid red herring MacGuffin. I mean, we're way past the point where as an audience we would think that
no. Well, it's not a red herring for us. It's a red herring for the cops, which I found kind of okay.
No. I misspoke. That's correct. It's a red herring for the cops. It is, I thought, implied that because Vincent D'Onofrio is so poor and he's always asking for money, that maybe he is the one who orchestrated this robbing of Bruce Willis's family. You didn't catch that?
I didn't think that at all, Henry.
Yeah, I thought they might have been going for that for a second. And this reviewer I read thought the same thing, that maybe that was a half-assed implication that because he's so down and out, he would be all of a sudden turn out to be the ultimate guy.
I guess if you cast Vincent D'Onofrio, you might get a turn like that, but it never occurred to me. Fucking whatever. The rest of this movie, there's a pretty good scene in a bar. Then, fucking, I didn't like the shootout in the nightclub because it just made me think of the Pulse nightclub shootings in Florida.
Oh, see, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that occurred to me in a weird way.
Well, the villains in this are a problem too, because if
they're
you're gonna
nothing. Yeah, come
Right.
on, man. Cast some character actors.
if you're going to make the movie and have a completely different idea about that he, the first one he never finds them, and this one he finds them, then if they're going to be three identifiable villains, you can't just put pantyhose on their head and then when we see who they are, we don't know who the fuck they are anyway. Because I got to tell you, like, I didn't know who was who.
We couldn't have gotten Paulo Schreiber to play one of these fuckers.
Yeah, Pablo.
Pablo,
yes,
right.
Who was, by the way, in a great movie from last year called Thumper.
Okay.
I recommend it. But yeah, like,
Bambi
so
spinoff?
What's that?
Bambi spinoff.
Right. Also a movie about guns and deer hunting. I think that they should have, like, I didn't know who was who. Like, I didn't know which one was leading the robbery. Like, I was actually invested. I was trying to figure out, like, oh, who was the creep who was, sneaking on the teenage girl, and who was the guy who was saying cut it out. And I could never figure it out. I
never really figured it out either. They're just nothing. They're faceless villains, and they get dispatched with.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I could have used, like, you know what Death Wish lacks is, remember the first Dirty Harry movie has Scorpio.
Fucking A.
Yeah. None of these movies have a great villain. At least the fifth one bothered to cast Michael Park, so you have some, like, energy in that role.
Yeah, that's true.
But this didn't. That's a problem.
It's just, yeah.
But there you have it. You have anything else to say? So the girl wakes up. There's one more shootout in the Kersey home, and Bruce Willis kills this guy with a semi-automatic. And I assume, I don't know anything about fucking guns, and that's the end of the movie. And he goes to New York to take her to college, she's moving there with a friend, Sophie, who's in one scene earlier in the movie, and I genuinely thought Bruce Willis was gonna bone her.
Really?
Yeah, they were like bonding over his daughter being in the coma.
Oh, Lord, Daniel.
Yeah.
Okay.
He should have. Leonardo
So
DiCaprio does it.
Oh, they go to the dangerous streets of West 4th Street in NYU.
Yeah, I know. And he does the gun with his hand, like at the end of the original.
And when he closes the thumb, you get Back in Black again.
Yep. Comes back.
Stayed through all the credits.
What are we doing? Back in Black, it's just like the franchise is back? That's what we're referring to?
Yeah, I don't. That's what I said earlier. I don't know what he's back from. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
You think we'll be getting a sequel to this?
No, because I don't think it's doing well enough. But, if there is, we'll cover it.
Yeah.
What'd you think of it, Hank? What's your star rating?
2.
I'm going to go ahead and give this a 3.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm really just putting aside... Listen, this movie should never have been made, frankly. Certainly not today.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about inessential movies. The 2018 Death Wish remake with Bruce Willis.
Correct. Yeah,
But if we're just going to judge it on the basis of the 5 Death Wish movies we saw already... I'm going to give this a 3. It's totally not bad. Without the weight of politics, if you catch this on TV in a few years, go ahead and watch it.
Yeah, so here's why I'm giving it 2. Again, believe me or not, I know you will, I hope our listeners do, completely divorced from politics. I mean, it's 2 stars, it's not 1. It's well directed. It's just very by the numbers. It's just a nothing. So like I'm trying to go in there just to enjoy like an action movie, and it's not the A-Team, which is a 1-star movie. It's not a train wreck, but it's not enough as at a 3 for me to say like, oh yeah, sit through this movie. I mean, it's very clunky written. I pointed this out throughout our broadcast, so it's just got nothing to say. It's too many plot holes, and Bruce Willis is dead in the water. And I think that holds a lot about it for me. That was a problem for me.
Yeah. Bruce Willis is a problem. He's not quite my LVP, but
he's mine.
He is, okay.
Yeah. Not Eli Roth, not Joe Carnahan.
I think he turns it on a little bit in the second half of this thing, but he's a bore.
He's a bore.
Yeah. MVP Vincent D'Onofrio for both of us, and my LVP is the villains, man.
Yeah, they
just
suck.
in general.
Yeah, they suck. Yeah.
All right.
I have a superhero count before we do our rankings.
Go ahead.
I got 4. Not surprising. A couple we've done before. Bruce Willis, obviously, in Red, and in Sin City.
Yeah. Hardigan.
Yep. And Vincent D'Onofrio is the great Kingpin in Daredevil, the Netflix series.
That's right. Yeah, he's great in that.
Yeah.
By the way, the Punisher, the current Punisher run on Netflix, a much better version of Death Wish.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. In every way that we discussed, possibly. Yeah. Two of the villains, one played by Jack Kesey. He played the Fish.
That's the one he kills in the bar.
Okay. He is in the upcoming Deadpool 2 as Black Tom Cassidy.
Oh, that's a major character, dude. He's like the head of the Hellfire Club. He's Juggernaut's best friend. I didn't know he was going to be in Deadpool 2. But I will say, I saw that trailer twice yesterday. Holy fuck, does that look exhausting.
They're really laying it on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw it too. They're really laying it on.
Yeah, but I'm a big Cable fan, so excited to see that character.
Yeah, I'm going to see Deadpool. And one of the other villains called Joe, played by an actor named Ronnie Gene Blevins, who was in The Dark Knight Rises as the cement truck driver. And I actually remember the scene. He's blocking a road so Bane can wreak havoc, and I remembered that briefly. And he's currently apparently in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., playing a character named Deacon.
Okay.
Yeah, you watch that, so...
Yeah, but I haven't in a few years.
Yeah. All right. So, rankings. I'm very interested. How do you want to do this?
Worst to best, you want to go?
Sure.
All right, so number 6. What do you got?
I have Death Wish 5, The Face of Death.
Me too.
Okay.
Number 5.
I have Death Wish 3.
Okay. I have Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
Ooh. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Number 4.
Number 4, I have Death Wish 2.
I also have Death Wish 2.
Oh, all right. The third best Death Wish movie is this one, the remake, Death Wish.
I totally agree.
Look at this. All right.
We're just going to flip 2 of them, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. What's your number 2?
My number 2 Death Wish movie is Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
And mine is Death Wish 3.
So there you go.
Yeah, we just flipped those. And number 1 is the original.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense, because given our last week's show with our opinions relatively to 3 and 4, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So there you go. So I mean, then that speaks to the new one that we both placed it at number 3. I mean, it's not the worst Death Wish movie at all.
No, it's the third best one.
Yeah, but going nuts over it either way, I don't really...
Exactly. That's why I think like the liberal bias on this fucking movie is out of control.
Agreed.
But I think conservatives really, really wanted this movie to be good and have a blind spot for it. I think conservatives are to this movie what Henry is to Trainspotting 2.
I didn't know you were going to go personal there.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say more like conservatives are to this movie like liberals are to like a Michael Moore movie or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, that would be more apropos. Yeah, The Last Jedi sucks. Don't see it. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't look at my mind.
Trainspotting 2.
Look at my Freudian slip there.
Yeah, you're just ready to talk shit, man.
No. Trainspotting 2 is great. Love it. Stand by it. Top 10.